former Prime Minister warns little has changed since the height of the global financial crisis. Gordon Brow says he was preparing to resign in case the bank's bailout was unsuccessful. AFP Gordon Brow has said the failure to put guilty bankers in prison after the financial crash has paved the way for further gambling with public money. The former Prime Minister said rogue executives should have been jailed, lost their bonuses and had their assets confiscated, and warned that little has changed since the global financial crisis in 2008. In new extracts from his memoir, My Life, Our Times, Mr. Brow also revealed that he was planning to resign if his government's multi-billion-pound bank bailout had failed at the height of the crisis. It comes after Mr. Brow admitted he struggled to communicate with voters in the touchy-feely era of modern politics and expressed disappointment that he failed to win people over to his progressive vision after the financial crash. He said little has changed since the promise in 2009 that we bring finance to heel. The banks that were deemed too big to fail are now even bigger than they were. Similarly, with inadequate oversight of shadow banking, with exotic new financial instruments such as collateralized loan obligations and without, as yet, a proper early warning system, some regulators freely confess that risks have morphed and migrated out of the formal banking system, and if the next crisis came they would still not know what is owed and by whom and to whom. 2009 has proved to be the turning point at which history failed to turn. Dividends and bankers' pay today represent almost exactly the same share of banks' revenues as before the crisis hit. Mr. Brow, who was Chancellor for a decade, added if bankers who act fraudulently are not put in jail with their bonuses returned, assets confiscated and banned from future practice, we will only give a green light to similar risk-laden behaviour in new forms. Disgraced former Royal Bank of Scotland boss Fred Goodwin never expressed real contrition for his role in the bank's collapse, Mr. Brow said, adding that it cannot be right that Mr. Goodwin walked away with all of his past bonuses untouched. Under his leadership, millions of pounds were simply wasted by RBS, including a £200 million annual sponsorship budget and payments to sports stars such as Andy Murray to act as ambassadors for the bank. Mr. Brow suggested using fraud legislation to tackle bankers who abuse their positions, make false representations or fail to disclose information. He also described how close he came to resigning at the peak of the crisis, saying he warned his wife Sarah to pack our things for a sudden move out of Downing Street if the planned bailout failed. The former Labour leader added, if what I was about to do failed, with markets collapsing further and confidence ebbing from Britain, I would have no choice but to resign. Reuse content. We use cookies to enhance your visit to our site and to bring you advertisements that might interest you. Read our privacy and cookie policies to find out more.